All right, ladies and gentlemen, we kick off the third hour of the show, the final hour of the week of the Steve Malzberg Show, by welcoming in my friend Senator Rick Santorum. Hello, Senator.
How are you, Steve? Good to be with you
I
again.
am doing well. I understand you're at the birthplace of a very famous American icon.
The Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Winterset, Iowa, which is the home of John Wayne. So, and also it's in Madison County, which is the movie The Bridges of Madison County were made. So there you go. How about that?
And you're the head of Echo Light Studio, so everything fits in.
It is. I'm also being the head of the Chamber of Commerce today at Don White. So for
great.
Madison County.
There you go.
So there you go.
Yeah, well, and of course, I guess it was repetitive to say a famous icon, but there you go anyway. All right, let's talk about something that's at the top of the news today, and that is the White House officials, according to the Times of Israel, saying that Benjamin Netanyahu spat in our face and will pay a price. All, of course, for coming to address a joint session of the Congress, I guess, at the behest of and the invitation of John Boehner.
I can imagine what he would have said had another leader, not an ally of the United States, been invited to speak. I suspect they wouldn't have used those terms. This is the kind of hostility that you see from this administration to our friends, and this should not be an issue. The Prime Minister of Israel, the State of Israel, is a friend of the United States, should be welcome anytime to speak to the United States Congress. And the president shouldn't get get all wound around the axle about it. This should be something that he should encourage to engender support for our ally. But this is how he treats his friends. And that's very disappointing.
And specifically Israel, with the chicken blank comment, and go taking him out the back entrance, keeping him waiting in the basement. Yeah, I mean the shoes on the desk, the soles facing the camera when he was talking to him, and that went around the world as a show of disrespect. What is it with him and Israel?
Well, I think you're accurate that it is particularly Israel, but I would make the argument that it is pervasive, that Israel maybe gets the worst of it, in part because Israel is one of our best allies. So the better the ally you are of the United States, the worse you're going to get treated, like sending the Churchill bus back. I mean, the UK being another great ally of ours, and the president has been anything but engaging to the prime minister there. So this is a serious problem of this administration. They see anybody who is a friend of the United States as someone that they should be suspicious of, because I guess they don't really like the way the United States has behaved over the last 20 or 30 years. So anybody that's been for us and is an ally of us is under suspicion, and those who have opposed us and are our enemies are those that need to be engaged, because they obviously have a legitimate grievance against us. That's the only way you can look at this, and it is really tragic that we have a president who doesn't want to go out and promote the goodness and the greatness of our country and what we've done in the world.
What'd you make of the State of the Union?
It's hard to listen to. I know that's a comment I made about another issue, but this president is. When he went into his discussion about how the Congress has to work on a bipartisan basis, and this is a president who has done more to divide Washington than any president in modern history. And for him to lecture on how we are supposed to all get along was the height of hypocrisy. And it just appeared to me to be another attempt by President Obama to ignore the will of the American public, lay out his vision for the brave new world of government doing more and more in people's lives and redistributing wealth, not caring about the election, not caring about working with Congress, putting the veto threat down, and then, as if he hadn't said any of those things, talk about how we have to work together. And it was a remarkable hubris on the part of the president.
I had Senator Orrin Hatch on yesterday, and he said that the Democrats have already watered down any possible sanctions bill, even against the objections of the likes of Senator Menendez and other Democrats. But it is already watered down. Do you fear that will be the case if there is even a bill that is passed?
You may know. I mean, I've worked on an Iranian sanctions bill when I was in the United States Senate, and you may also recall I did it in opposition to President Bush. President Bush opposed my sanctions bill against Iran and their nuclear program. this was back a while ago in 2006, when many people thought that they didn't have a nuclear program, and we pushed forward, and the Senate, on an up or down vote, actually voted us down, and then 6 months later it passed, and it passed in the very same version that we wanted. Right. So this may be and my point is, this may be a situation where it may be voted down, it may not get the votes, but I think we have to push a tough sanctions regime. And even if we don't get the votes, I guarantee you, as we see this issue play out, just like it did in 2006, and you see the disingenuousness of the Iranians and coming to any kind of solution.
Right.
I'd rather get a tough bill than a watered-down bill.
Gotcha.
Right now.
Senator, we're coming right back. Don't go away. Senator Rick Santorum. All right, folks, we're back with former Republican Senator from the great state of Pennsylvania, former GOP presidential candidate, CEO of Echolite Studios, Rick Santorum. Let me get all this out of the way. Stories that you're prepping for 2016. You met with aides to plan details. When are you going to be ready to make an announcement officially?
You know, we're going through the process I think that everybody's going through right now, which is to get out across the country, deliver the message that you believe is the right message to unify the country and put us back on the right footing, both here at home and overseas, and see what kind of support you get, both on the ground and financially, and make a decision probably sometime, late spring, early summer. I don't think there's really any hurry. The debates for the Republican National Committee set up don't start until late, in late summer, and so I think there's going to be a window there for us to really get a good sense of whether the necessary elements are there to make a good run.
All right. So, so it's not really just a matter of the timing of the announcement. You actually have not yet decided.
What we've decided to do is to pursue an effort to see whether there's support out there to make this thing real. I don't think anybody is at this point saying, well, we were going to go or not go. You got to see whether there is support to make a viable run. I think that's what everybody's going to do.
Does it matter who gets in? Huckabee, Romney, Bush, Christie, blah, blah. Does any of that matter to you?
Doesn't matter to me. From my perspective, the more the merrier. We have a wonderful group of folks here in Iowa, across the country, who were involved with us last time and have stayed involved with our organization, Patriot Voices, and I think many of them are ready to jump if we decide to make that announcement, and I don't know if other folks are in similarly situated positions. So I feel like we don't have to really worry about what anybody else does. We have to just focus on whether we have a viable path forward.
What do you think the conversation was like between Bush and Romney yesterday? What do you think the purpose of that meeting was?
Well, I would like to think. I've talked to a couple of prospective candidates. Both on the phone, just picked the phone and called, and others just in casual conversations. And my conversations have always been about how we're going to make sure that we have a primary that is not destructive, that isn't just about tearing down one side or the other side. And that doesn't mean we don't challenge each other on the issues. We do, but we try to play in a way that doesn't hurt our chances in the fall. And I think that tenor and that tone should be really what all these conversations about. What they talked about, I don't know, but I can tell you what I've talked about.
All right, let me add, you were at the Right to Life march. There were thousands of people there, of course, and you've made some remarks about the Pope, and you're not alone. I heard Sean Hannity, say something. I don't want to misquote him, but he, some of the comments from the Pope are questionable or troubling, or I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he brought it up, and I've, as a non-Catholic, I've brought that up, and I thought I think this Pope is great in so many respects, but I don't get a lot of the things he says, and I know you had a little problem with the "don't multiply like rabbits" statement that he made the other day.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the Pope when he talks about the doctrine of the Church. He's brilliant. He's amazing. I've read a lot of his stuff, and he is so clear. He is so conviction oriented. I have no doubt the Pope is as solid as the Pope. That's not the issue. it's what the media will do with some phrases that are out there, like the use of trickle-down economics or the use of breeding like rabbits. I mean, these are phrases out there that I think can be just taken out of context. So it's not that even what he said, even when he talked about, both those concepts, it's not what he said. If you read the context of what he said and you read everything around it, it's perfectly fine. It's just the casualness of the conversation leads many who would love to see division, leads them to take those and then run with them in a direction that the Pope certainly didn't intend, and that's why it's just really it's hard. Because I know the Pope's hard. I mean, I read his encyclicals, I read his statements, and they're brilliant, they're perfect, they're right, and then he'll say something which allows people to twist them, and that's why it's hard to listen to, because I know his heart, and yet he'll say things that I know he means innocently, and I know they're innocent, but it can be taken by those who are, well, let's just say not so innocent, to try to twist what his meanings really is.
You talk about the liberal media with their agenda.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, they would love nothing more than to drive a real division between the church, not just here but around the world. And the Pope is solid. The Pope's a great man. He's a brilliant teacher. He's a warm, loving father in many respects. And that's it just hurts me to see him throw up softballs for the media to twist. And I know he's not doing it deliberately. He's being very conversational. And
Senator,
yeah.
Great talking to you, sir. Thank you for the two segments. We'll speak to you soon.
My pleasure.
Rick Santorum, folks. We're coming back.